everybody, and welcome to another Stahls TV class. It's all about decorating temperature-sensitive garments. My name is Brandon Chips. I'm actually one of the sales reps here at Stahls TV Studios here in Pennsylvania, where everything is frozen and we're getting lots of snow. Yay! Don't know where you all are from, but hopefully you're warm wherever you are. Today's class, we're going to decorate some different garments here, mostly in the type of like performance wear industry, like with polyesters, some different tri-blend stuff. And although, you know, there isn't really a permanent solution to getting rid of things like heat press boxes and scorches, you know, we are going to give you some ways around things to try to prevent it from happening. Before we do that, though, there is some poll questions. I think there was one that was going on as the class was getting ready to start. There are a few other ones, though. I wouldn't mind if you guys would take the time to go ahead and answer a few of those. And that way you can kind of see some of the data here as what we're working with and everything. And then after that, we will get started.
All right, Brandon, for do you own a heat press, 100% of your viewers said yes.
Okay.
Now we're going to go on to do you own a vinyl cutter.
Okay.
All right, for do you own a vinyl cutter, 88% said yes and 12% said no. And now we'll close it off with do you own a printer cutter. 35% do, 65% don't, and then for your opening poll, which was have you ever used Stahls heat transfer materials, 80% have and 20% have not.
Okay, great. Well, those are some really good numbers, and the one number, of course, that sticks out among the rest of them is that everybody does own a heat press, which I'm sure that you know that right there in itself is the most useful piece of equipment that you can have. A vinyl cutter and even a printer cutter, you can kind of get away with a little bit, but because Stahls, us here, we can actually do that work for you. But you still need a heat press, though. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And one thing I wanted to kind of mention, though, before this is I know the different apparel distributors like Sanmar, even like Pennant Sportswear, Boxercraft, everybody is seeing a spike in performance wear right now. Everybody and everybody wants it. You know, the Under Armours, the Nikes, everybody wants that fill. And you know, to find materials that are out there to decorate that can be applied at a lower temperature with lower pressures and lower times, it's kind of hard. But you know, hopefully today, as we heat press a few of these garments here, you know, we'll give you some solutions to that there that'll help you prevent that and everything. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera angle and get us over to our Fusion heat press real quick here. Okay, so the Fusion heat press here, for those of you that don't know, it's a digital touchscreen display. Pressure adjustment is on the top right here. So the particular garment that I'm doing right now is just a polyester shirt here. It's from SuperTech line from Sanmar. And the type of transfer that I'm going to do right here is actually, it's a little bit different here. I don't know, maybe you haven't seen this or maybe you have. But it is a screen printed transfer. This is actually from our sister company, which is called Transfer Express. So basically, rather than them screen printing it onto the actual garment for you, they screen print it onto a transfer paper for you, and then when you get it, you can literally lay it down. This particular one here is called Elastiprints. It's called Elastiprints because it kind of has a little bit of stretchability to it. But more importantly than that, though, it applies at a low temperature. You can actually drop the heat press clear down to 275 degrees for this one, and the pressure, you know, medium to firm pressure as well. So once again, one of the ways to try to avoid a heat press box or scorching the garment is a low temperature material. It's going to be your best bet. 300 degrees is kind of that breaking point to where, you know, you start to impede the garment. You start to leave a heat press box. You start to leave, you know, scorch marks and all that. So anything that you can do to try to get the heat press down lower is going to result in, you know, less chance of you ruining the garment. You know, the last thing that you want to do is, you know, order in some really expensive shirts and garments and then end up, you know, leaving a heat press box on there for them. So I'm going to go ahead and press this real quick for us here just to kind of give us an idea. And I'm going to grab a cover sheet real quick here. This garment right here was already preheated to take out the moisture for it here. As we go on further, though, you will want to preheat. One of the things I do want to mention before I do press this too, before I forget, is that when you're dealing with this type of you know, polyester or, you know, like the different tri-blends, like with the Rayons and all that, is a good tip to do is to preheat the garment, but more importantly than that too, preheat your platen. Because when you have that heat that's already on there and you lay down your transfer, whether it's a screen printed transfer or whether it's a vinyl transfer, you already have the heat that's on there that's starting to activate that adhesive. So that way, you know, less time and less pressure, and less of a temperature that it's going to take to press this transfer on here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and press this one on here for us. Now once again, this one here is called Elastiprints, and once I take it off the press here, I'll show you, it does have some stretchability to it. So the performance wear stuff, the Under Armour, the dry fit, moisture wicking, it all works great for that because it actually has some stretchability and some rebound to it. And this one is a cold pill, so I don't want to pill it hot right away because I will pull the transfer up. So as it's cooling here, what I'll actually do is I'll go ahead and just take this shirt off of here real quick, and I'll sit it down right here for a second. So once again, just to kind of reconfirm, heat the bottom platen up to get some extra heat on there, and obviously use a cover sheet too. You want to always protect your upper platen. You don't want to get nothing stuck to there. It is really hard to get it off if you do. I've done it before, and lots of people I know that have. I've even done it at trade shows at certain times too. So, but yeah, you want to heat it up there. That way you activate the adhesive and you get everything ready to go. So this should be cooling down here in a second here. And I'll bring it back over here to show you guys. That way you can see. Let me just change the overhead camera here for you. Okay, so you can see, as you can see, I mean, there is no heat press box on here. There is no scorch marks. It is a polyester performance shirt, and you can see if I grab a hold of the transfer, I can actually, it does have some stretchability properties to it. And like I said, it's just one way to try to avoid it. Another big way is, picking and choosing which colors you have. I know sometimes you really don't have a choice because if a customer needs a certain color, but if they don't, you want to stay away from the darker color stuff. When you do leave a heat press box in that, it is going to show up a lot more with that. And let's go back to our regular camera angle. So that was the first garment there, and like I said, that is called Elastiprints, and that is available through Transfer Express, which is Stahls' sister company. And what makes them unique, like I said, is that it's not vinyl; it's a screen printed transfer. So potentially, you could be into the screen printing business without buying none of the equipment. You can literally, as long as you have a heat press, you can buy the transfer from us already done, and you can become a screen printer just like that. So. The next transfer that I'm going to move on to, though, is also from Transfer Express. And now this one here is one of their newest transfers that they have out right now. And the name of it's called Stretch Litho. And it does have some stretchability, hence the name. But what makes this one unique is that it's a hybrid of a transfer. So for those of you that have the printer cutters that answered on the poll questions, you'll kind of know whenever I refer to as a digital transfer. And that's what this one is. So it's a half digital and half screen printed transfer. And this is one of their newest products that's out right now. Once again, a low temperature material with low pressure under the heat press, for minimal amounts of time is going to reduce the chances of you scorching the garments. Once again here, this is just another polyester performance wear from Sanmar of their SuperTech line. So I want to go ahead and preheat real quick here to get some of the moisture out of it and get some of the wrinkles out of it too. So we'll just go down for a couple seconds here. I do want to change the time on here just a hair and bump it up. And just like the other one too, this one also is going to be a cold pill. So because of that, we are going to press it and then kind of take it over to the side for a minute there just to let it cool down. This one does press in 2 different steps. You have to hit it for the full time, which is 11 to 15 seconds. And then once you're done doing that, you need to cover it with the actual cover sheet that you can get from Transfer Express. Once you cover it back up, it kind of pulls everything together for you. But it is a 2-step process for this one. So let's go ahead and press it down. Another thing you can do too is the cover sheets. I mean, obviously, if you have a cover sheet on there, it's going to reduce the amount of heat that moves through there. You don't want something real thick though, because if it's real thick, then you are definitely going to have some adhesion issues because it's not going to stick, and the last thing you want to do is have it fall off. So once again, it is a cold peel, so we're going to leave it cool down for a second here. Just let it cool down. If you peel it up too fast, it's literally going to pull the transfer right off the garment, and that's what you don't want to do. And when dealing with customers and getting orders, it's always a good idea if you have a couple of extra garments that you can test out beforehand. You don't want to get in a set of shirts that cost a decent, or any money for that matter, but the last thing you want to do is get them in there, and then all of a sudden you get scorch marks and get burn marks, and then you have to tell the customer, hey, I can't do your I can't do it. So I'm going to show you the overhead angle of this one real quick here. You can see it. Now this is a two-step process here, so once I hit it again, you'll see kind of how the outlines right here will kind of start to come together with this particular transfer. It looks like we have a question. Okay.
One of your viewers received Elastiprints from Transfer Express, and the instructions say to press at 300 degrees, but she's having trouble scorching royal blue 100% poly jerseys. Can you give her some advice?
Well, with Elastiprints, they do recommend, I think now, it used to be a 275 degree, and I know that recently they just went ahead and did a 300. I just pressed this at 275, and you can see, well, not this one, but the one before that, that was Elastiprints, and I had no issues at all. You can try to do that. Once again, you can also, because you are dropping at 25 degrees, you could break it down into two different steps just to make sure that you cover with a cover sheet. As far as your garments goes, yeah, I mean, the darker the garment, the more chance that you're going to have for leaving a heat press box on there. Not only that too, but you also take a risk of dye migration too, which later on, as I press a couple other ones, we do have another solution for that as well. So as far as solutions goes for you, heat pre the bottom platen first, get that heated up for you, lay down the transfer, cover with a cover sheet, hit it. If you need to drop down lower, I did. Like I said, you do want to follow Transfer Express's recommendations. This is something that they used to do. They used to press it at 275. I know recently that just went up, but I did it at 275. I didn't have a problem. But I would also contact them first, though. I mean, they do have a sales staff that's on staff there that should be able to help you along as well. So hopefully that helps out. Now, with this particular transfer here, like I said, it is a two-step process. So I already hit it once. I already peeled off the sheet. So now I'm going to take that same sheet, which is just the transfer paper that it comes on, and I'm just going to cover it up. And when I cover it up, I'm going to hit it again. Now this time you want to hit it for about half the time. So rather than hitting it for the full, 10 to 15 seconds, I'm going to hit it for about 6 seconds. Kind of cool down a second here. And there you have it. You can see very nice transfer. And like I said, what makes this one unique is that it is a hybrid. It is half digital and it is half screen printed transfer. And it's one of their newest things that they have. And when it comes to the performance wear industry, it has the stretchability, it has the low temp, it has the the lighter pressure. It's definitely one that definitely can help you out there. So let's go back to our original camera angle there. There we go. So the next one here that I'm going to talk about, and this different material here is called our SuperTech Stop. And the reason why it's called Stop, what makes this one a little bit unique is it has a charcoal that's baked into the adhesive. Now this one, next one, it's a digital material. So for those of you who have the print cut machine, you're going to put it into your solvent or eco solvent printer, and you're going to print onto it, and you're going to go through the whole steps of it, and then you're going to heat press it. And when I bring it over here and I'll show you the back of it, the back is actually black rather than being just white like some of the other transfers. This one is black, and that is because of the charcoal that is baked into the adhesive. And what it does, it'll actually filter the dyes from coming up through. So it's a great one to use, not only for the low temp and for avoiding the scorch marks and all that, it's also great for preventing dye migration, which we know can be a real issue. So we go ahead and grab it real quick here. Now this next one here is a Camo Performance shirt here from Augusta, and I'm sure that any of you that have seen these before and have decorated these, I'm sure you know that sometimes these particular shirts right here, the dyes can migrate through. They are very well known for that. That's why I'm using the SuperTech Stop Stahls digital material onto there. And whenever you're heat pressing too, one of the other things too is to make sure that you have a flat print area. If you have a seam like this right here, even this little seam right here, I mean, when you come down with the heat press and it doesn't get even pressure on there, stuff's going to fall off. But not only that too, but it can also leave other marks too. Like it can leave an indent right there. One of the things is with transfers, like this one in particular right here, you have the carrier that it comes on, which is a mylar carrier. Sometimes you'll get a box literally on the shirt. And again, the only way that you can really avoid this from happening is low temp, low pressure, and the less time you have under the press, the less chance you take of scorching the garment or leaving a heat press box. So this one right here, I'm going to switch back over to the overhead view because I want to show you guys the back of this transfer. Now you can see the back of this transfer is actually black. And like I said, the reason for that is because it does have the charcoal that's baked into the adhesive here, which will filter the dyes of the shirt from coming up through. So if you're getting dye migration and if you need something that is low temp, SuperTech Stop is the name of this, and it is available here at Stahls. So I'm just going to put this right here on the left chest right here, and I'm going to grab a cover sheet real quick here. And now this one here, you're going to apply it at 280 degrees, just like kind of like the Elastiprints. The recommended settings for it is 300 degrees. But with these particular ones here, and then another one that I'm going to show you, there's a 40-degree window that you can work with. So you can literally drop to 280 or you can increase to 320. So if you're at 300 and you're starting to get a heat press box, drop it to 280. If you're at 300 and it's not enough heat, you can increase to 320. So there's a 40-degree variable there for you that you can go kind of back and forth with. And the SuperTech, we want to do it in 2 applications again, just like the stretch litho transfer that we just pressed. And the full application time is 10 seconds, but because we're breaking that up, we're doing it in 2 steps of 5. So 5, let it kind of cool down a little bit. It is a warm pill, it's not a hot. Once you have it done, then cover with a cover sheet and then hit it again for the other 5, and then you're good to go. One of the things with most of the low temp materials, you're not going to find any that I know of anyways, that are a hot peel. Most of them are going to be a warm or a cold peel. And that's fine, especially if you're going to do multiple garments, because literally as one is being done, you can take it up, pick it up, and then sit it over to the side while you're heat pressing the other one to just to speed up time. Sometimes we get busy, and time is money in this business, and the more time you can be, the more money that you can make. So let that just go down just a little bit there. If I can get the end of it here. Kind of tough to see on this particular shirt. So there's that. Now we want to hit it again for the second application of 5 seconds. Actually, I had it for 6 and I didn't even know it. So we'll hit it again for 5 more. And as you know, there is some materials out there that literally whenever you're heat pressing them, I mean literally as soon as you put the transfer on the garment, you can experience dye migration as soon as it happens. So you can see full color digital transfer with the adhesive with the charcoal on the adhesive to filter the dyes, low temp. As you can see on the shirt here, there's no box anywhere. I mean, there is literally no heat press box anywhere where I pressed this, and mainly because I didn't have it under the heat press for very long. I had it at a low temperature with about a medium pressure. So once again, these are just different ways that you can go around different things to avoid scorch marks and heat press boxes. I'm going to go back to our main angle real quick, and I'm going to hold this shirt up for you just to see it. So I don't know if you guys can take a look at that there. Full color, like I said, looks really great on here. Kind of blends in a little bit, and it is using Eco Solvent ink, which is extremely durable. But these medias right here, you can actually use both. You can actually use solvent or Eco Solvent ink. Either one will work. So the next one that I'm going to get into here is it's just another polyester performance shirt. Now this one here is using for all you people that have a vinyl cutter, this is just using our regular CAD cut. So as I stated before, we have a solution for you with the low temp stuff for just about every style of decorating. We have the screen printed transfer one. We actually have a couple with that one. We have the Elasti prints and the stretch litho. We also have the CAD Cut Premium Plus for just your single color stuff. And then we have the SuperTech line of our low temp materials there, including the one that we just pressed, the one that actually will filter dye migration for you too as well. So let's go ahead and get this one pressed on. One thing with the Hotronix Fusion, if you don't have one, that you'll notice, I know this is a materials class, but the Hotronix Fusion, I can't speak enough about it, is the threadability. I mean, whenever you thread these garments on here, you can literally get your hands all the way back. So it's 100% threadability. And as you saw too, it is fully touchscreen display. So let me increase the time here to 10 seconds. Let me preheat just a little bit here to get the moisture out. This is our Premium Plus. Like I said, this is our single color CAD cut material. And lots of different colors to choose from. It's available in 20 inches wide. So as long as your cutter can cut 20 inches, you're good for this one. And like I said, once again, low temp materials, I can't stress it enough. To avoid the heat press box, low temp, low pressure, and the longer you have it under the heat press, the more it's going to do that. And like I said, one of the other ways to do it is to preheat the platen here. I know that I'm not doing it, but that's one thing that you should do is before you even put the garment on there, heat press the platen just to get it heated up. Put your garment on, take the moisture out of it, then lay your transfer down, cover with a cover sheet, and then hit it with your press. And by doing these things, you reduce the chance of leaving those boxes. And a lot of times too, when you do get the boxes, sometimes you'll notice, and I'm sure you have, that they will launder out. Once you throw it into the washer, once or twice that box does go out. Although that doesn't really solve the issue when you're dealing with a customer and they don't understand that. So Premium Plus, and like I said, this is a warm to cold pill as well. Most of the low temp stuff really is. And this particular color here is a metallic silver. There's actually 38 colors for Premium Plus, so there's quite a selection there. If you guys haven't tried it before, I do recommend it. It's one of those materials that you can pretty much throw on just about any type of garment. Cotton, polyester, like spandex are all compatible fabrics for this one. And you do have that 40-degree window to work with. 300 degrees is the recommended temp, but if you need to drop to 280 or increase to 320, you can do that. So let's go ahead and peel the carrier off of here. One thing about Premium Plus too that I want to stress as well, the carrier is not real tacky. So there's some out there that are so tacky that, literally they will pull the hair right off of your arms as you're weeding it. But this one here though, the carrier is not real tacky at all. So it is very arm friendly, so to speak. And that's a good thing, especially for the guys. So as you can see, the metallic finish. And one thing about Premium Plus, again, you can grab it and you can stretch it, and it'll stretch and bounce back to its original shape. So a great material to add to whatever you're doing. If you're doing performance wear, I highly recommend CAD Cut Premium Plus. It does have the low temp, 10 seconds under the heat press. If you really needed to, you could probably break that up into 2 steps if you're dealing with some really temperature sensitive fabrics. But it's just another great option that Stahls has. And the last garment that I'm going to press here, I'm sure you have all heard of these different tri-blends. Now these ones here are the tricky ones because of the amount of rayon that's in them. The rayon is kind of what gives you the, you know, the scorching or heat press box, I guess you could say. But I know that I've dealt with a lot of garments that had low amounts of rayon, and you know I didn't really notice too much. And then I've dealt with some that had higher amounts of rayon, and when it did, I got at the very least, a mylar mark, and that's something that you want to try to avoid. I think we have another question.
Would you suggest using Premium Plus for athletic socks?
For athletic socks, that's going to be a tough one there because of how thick the socks are. Generally speaking, if it's a polyester sock, what most people do nowadays, sublimation. I don't know if you guys do sublimation or not, but it's a great way to get full color onto the socks. Now, I've put Premium Plus on a couple different socks too, but they were a thinner version. The thicker it is, you know, like I said, as far as the pressure goes, that's going to be my concern. Is that, you know, it may stick initially, but then as soon as you throw it into the wash, you may notice it coming off. Unfortunately, we don't make a sock platen. We do have other platens that are not as wide that you may be able to thread a sock onto there. I've actually never tried it though. But I think the smallest one that we carry is a 6x10, so it's going to be 6 inches wide. So stretching a sock that wide, I don't know if I would take the risk on doing that. But if the polyester content is higher in it, then you know you may want to consider sublimating it rather than using just cat cut on it. Hopefully that helps you. So this next material is our SuperTech. Now this one here is my favorite material. Once again, the whole tech line, whether I'm dealing with the SuperTech Clear, which is what this one is, it's just a clear material. So whether it's SuperTech Clear or it's the Stop version we saw, or we even have different special effects one that can do metallic colors like metallic silver, metallic gold. Any of those, they are all within those 40-degree windows. Like I said, from 300 degrees, you can drop to 280 or you can increase to 320. This one right here, though, particularly is my favorite because it works two different ways. It works as a single color cat cut material, which we cut this on a vinyl cutter. However, if you have the printer cutter, then you can also do a digital print on this as well. And you can use solvent or eco-solvent ink. For our purposes here today, we didn't print onto it because we already had a couple printed on, but I wanted to show what this looks like on the garment because the darker color shirts, like the charcoals and like this red here, it gives you a frosted tone-on-tone effect. And it does come in two different versions. This one right here is the matte finish, which is going to give you a laser etch look. And then it also comes in a gloss finish too, which will kind of give you a shiny wet look. So depending on what your customer's preference is, you know, you can either pick the matte or the gloss. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and press this onto the garment here. And when I'm done, you'll see how cool of a design it really is. Change the overhead back, that way you guys can see. All right, SuperTech Clear Matte, and once again, you know, it's a warm pill, so you want to just let it cool down for a couple minutes here. Stahls actually sells, I mean, I don't know how many people use them, but they are heat erasers to where literally it almost looks like a chalkboard eraser, to where you could grab it like this and literally heat it, you know, just literally wipe it across here and it'll remove the heat. What a lot of people do, including myself, what I'll do is if I have a wall next to me, I'll pick up the shirt and literally just put it up against the wall for a couple seconds to kind of let it cool down to get some of that heat out of there. That way when you're pilling it up, you're not pulling it up. So. And as you can see, it does give you a really, really, really interesting, cool, frosted, tone-on-tone type of look. You have the lighter tone here with the darker red outside of here. And, you know, like I said, there is no heat press box at all. And this is an actual tri-blend from Sanmar. So, you know, these are the ones here where you do tend to see heat press boxes on there. And the SuperTech Clear obviously is a great, any SuperTech product is a great, you know, a great product to try to avoid that as much as you can. because of the low temperature and the time that's under the heat press. Looks like we have another question.
One of your viewers needs to do glitter flake on black tri-blend rayon and black poly hoodies. Do you have any time or temperature pressure advice for avoiding the masking box?
Well, with glitter flake, you could probably get away. I mean, and this is something, I mean, it's 320 for 15 seconds is the normal time and temperature with a medium pressure with glitter flake. However, though, I know that whenever I've done, you know, 2 different designs with glitter flake, you know, where I've trapped it, not layered it because you can't layer glitter flake, but whenever I've trapped it before, I mean, I've tacked glitter flake down for as little as 5 seconds, and I've gotten away with that. So you can try to experiment with that, but the main thing that you want to do is that, you know, even if you do tack it like that and then you peel the carrier off, you still want to get that full time under the heat press on the second time around with your cover sheet over top of it. Once your Mylar carrier is off of there, you know, you don't have to worry about that, you know, being on there again. But that's one of the things that I would try. You could try to hit it for half the time, peel the carrier off. Glitter flake is a hot peel, so as soon as it comes off, you can peel it right off, cover it with the cover sheet, and then hit it again for the recommended settings. Looks like we have another question.
Ever used the SuperTech Clear on a digital camo shirt before?
I have not used it on a digital camo shirt before. One of the things I would want to worry about with that is the bleeding issue with dye migration. So in that case, what I would probably try to do is I would try to use something that's going to try to inhibit the dyes like the SuperTech Stop that we saw earlier. The clear stuff, I mean, obviously it is clear, so if it does bleed, it is going to come, you know, come right up through it. It's not very thin or thick at all. I think it's like literally like 40, it's like 50 to like 70 microns thick, so it's very, very, very thin. Although what I have done with this material before, not with the matte, but I've done it with the gloss, is I've taken Premium Plus. I actually took, at a trade show one time, I took black Premium Plus and cut a camo pattern out of it onto a white shirt. And then I took the SuperTech Gloss and I layered it right over top of the Premium Plus. And it really did pop off the shirt though, because that gloss gave it a whole nother effect that made it look really nice. Actually, the customer that was there at the time ended up putting a big stock order in of it because it's exactly this type of solution that she was looking for to try to get something else to kind of spark, you know, new sales with her business. So, but as far as me using it on a digital camo shirt, though, no, I have never done that. And like I said, the only thing that I would be leery of is I would be leery of the dye migration properties that the camo shirts, a lot of them tend to kind of have that that property where they do migrate. There is one out there, and I think Augusta makes it. And don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure, as opposed to being a sublimated camo shirt, it's actually a roll printed. I don't know exactly how the whole process works, but I know at one point in time they were promoting it, saying that it was helping against dye migration, and that the dyes were not migrating as much because it wasn't sublimated. It was actually roll printed. So. But that was the last garment I had. I'm actually going to move back over to the table real quick here, and then I think we still have a few minutes left of the class here. So I just want to take a couple moments here just to talk to you more about, just to kind of reiterate and kind of re-hit on some things that we did here. I know that during these classes there's a lot of garments being pressed and there's a lot of information. Sometimes it's kind of tough to get it all absorbed, but I kind of want to just go down through the steps of how to try to avoid leaving a heat press box or a scorch mark on there. So let me change my camera angle real quick here for you guys. And I'm back with you now. So just to kind of re-hit again on some of the points, preheating the platen, that'll help you out as far as getting that adhesive ready to start to activate. Preheating the garment will also do that for you as well. And when you're preheating the garment, I mean, you don't want to leave it under there real long, because if it is going to leave a scorch mark, it's going to do it with or without a transfer on there, or a heat press box rather. The Mylar carrier marks, one thing to try to avoid that is to, you know, a low temperature in the time, basically. You know, if you have a material and you can break it up into 2 different applications and split the time that's under the heat press, that's always going to be crucial for you. Literally, I mean, you've seen, I pressed, I don't know, 5 or 6 different garments during this class here, and you know, not one time did I get a heat press box on there. Now, I know some of those were lighter garments, but that's also part of the thing too, though, is that, you know, if your customers are coming to you and they're not sure what type of garments to order, and you know, and the colors really don't matter, it's more about the design, then recommend to them to get the lighter color stuff, because the lighter color stuff is not going to show up as much as some of those darker color stuffs. I know that I pressed a was like a hot pink poly performance shirt last week, and literally, I mean, as soon as I put it under the heat press, it was for like I was actually pressing SuperTech onto there, so it was 5 seconds. Once I lifted it up, I mean, the heat press box was on there, and it just wasn't going away. So, you know, depending on what type of garments that you have, that can determine whether or not that you're going to leave a heat press box. So I would definitely choose your garments wisely, and always use a low temperature material. There is some other things too, accessories that the Stahls also offers, such as a heat printing pillow. And what you can do with those is they work a couple different ways. If you have zippers or buttons, they kind of work really well for that because it'll raise the print area up for you. But it'll also get it up off of that platen. Sometimes with the platens themselves, because of how hard they are, that can indent and leave a mark on there for you as well. So it's another just way that you can try to get around them. Like I said, there is no exact way to eliminate it fully, you know, and there are garments out there that just, no matter what you do, you're going to get a heat press box on there. And it's unfortunate, and it's more unfortunate that, you know, that there is no solution to that. As time goes on, I'm sure that Stahls and everybody else that's out there in the industry will find a solution for that. But until then, you know, you can take these steps to, you know, hit it with a heat press for a low temperature, low pressure, low time, cover with a cover sheet, preheat your platen, you know, preheat your garment, and use a different type of accessories like the heat printing pillows, and so on. And by doing those, you know, you should be able to eliminate and reduce the chances of you leaving a heat press box or a scorch box. So I'm not sure how much time we got left here, but that's all that I have for you guys today. If you do have a couple questions, you know, you can go ahead and chat them in. You know, chat your questions in regardless, even after the class is over. I mean, you can always give us a call here at Stahls. I mean, we're always here to help in any way we can. And, you know, if we don't have the answer for you right away, we'll get it for you. You know, we've been doing this since 1932. I've been around for a long time, and we're here to help you in any way we can. So, you know, give us a call. And if you want to try some of the materials as well, too, samples, or even if you want to buy some, give us a call. If you never tried Premium Plus before and you are doing CAD cut vinyl, I do recommend it. It is one of those materials that it goes on everything. It's just great for an all-around shirt, and it just so happens that it applies at a lower temperature. So for the performance wear, for all that stuff, it works great for it. It is a solution, and I've never had a person that I've sent it to that was doing performance wear put it on a shirt and not like it. Lots of colors to choose from. It's very, very well priced, and it does come in 20-inch wide rolls too. So if we don't have any further questions, I think that's going to be the end here. Give us a call if you need anything, and we'll see you again.